In this video, we are looking at 10 motorcycles from the 1970s that don't just hold their own, they absolutely destroy modern bikes in character, engineering integrity, and the sheer adrenaline they pump into your veins. We'll cover the two-stroke terror that still out-accelerates modern middleweights, the Italian beast that was the first to hit 140 miles per hour, and the Japanese legend that essentially invented the term superbike. If you want to know which vintage machines are currently outperforming the market and why a 50-year-old bike might be the best investment you ever make, you need to stay with me until the very end. Hit that subscribe button for Rider Archive right now because we're about to kickstart a journey through the wildest decade on two wheels. Number 10. Suzuki GT750 Water Buffalo. The Suzuki GT750 was a radical departure from the vibrating, air-cooled twins of the era, introducing a massive liquid-cooled three-cylinder two-stroke engine that earned it the nickname Water Buffalo. From a dealer's perspective, this bike was a masterpiece of over-engineering before the accountants took over the industry. While modern bikes feel disposable, the GT750 was built like a tank, offering a level of smoothness and torque that made it a premier grand tourer. The way it delivers power is deceptive. There's no sudden peak, just a relentless hydraulic-like pull that leaves modern 650cc twins feeling hollow and buzzy. I've seen these bikes cross continents with nothing more than basic maintenance, proving that Suzuki's early foray into liquid cooling was decades ahead of its time. It's a bike that commands respect for its civility. But don't let the smoothness fool you, it was just the quiet prelude to a German revolution that changed the face of sport touring forever. Number 9. BMW R90S. The BMW R90S was the bike that proved the Germans could be just as rock and roll as the Japanese, shattering their image of building only reliable, boring tractors. With its iconic smoke gray paint and the first ever factory-fitted bikini fairing, the R90S wasn't just a motorcycle, it was a high-speed weapon designed for the Autobahn. In the buying and selling world, these are gold because they offer a level of build quality that modern manufacturers simply cannot afford to replicate today. The Dell'Orto pumper carbs and the 900cc boxer engine provide a mechanical symphony that modern fuel-injected bikes have completely lost. It's stable, it's fast, and it has a front-end feel that gives you more confidence in a rainy corner than many modern nakeds. It was a bike that demanded to be ridden hard, but as sophisticated as the BMW was, it lacked the raw, primitive torque of a certain British legend that was fighting for its life. Number 8. Norton Commando 850. The Norton Commando 850 is the ultimate soul machine, featuring the famous isolastic anti-vibration system that allowed a massive prehistoric parallel twin to feel as smooth as a four-cylinder at highway speeds. When you twist the throttle on a Commando, you don't just hear the engine, you feel the history of British racing pulsing through the handlebars. In my 15 years, I've never seen a bike that connects a rider to the road quite like this. It's narrow, light, and has a low-end grunt that makes modern retro bikes feel like toys. It was the last stand of a dying industry, and that desperation is baked into its performance. It handles with a flickability that belies its age. It is a bike that requires your full attention, a trait that's missing in today's world of rider aids. However, as charming as the Norton was, the Italians were busy building a handling masterclass that would set the blueprint for every sport bike to follow. Number 7. Moto Guzzi 850 Le Mans. The Moto Guzzi 850 Le Mans is a bike that was built for one thing: high-speed stability and endurance. With its low center of gravity and that massive longitudinal V-twin, the Le Mans feels like it's glued to the tarmac, offering a level of cornering confidence that modern top-heavy bikes can only dream of. I've always told my clients that a Guzzi doesn't just age, it matures, and the Le Mans is the finest vintage you can find. The linked braking system was revolutionary for the 70s and still feels remarkably modern in its stopping power. It's a bike that rewards a smooth, deliberate rider, turning every canyon road into a personal racetrack. It has a presence that stops people in their tracks at every gas station, something a modern mass-produced litter bike rarely achieves. But if you want to talk about shaking the world, you have to look at the two-stroke giant killer that terrified an entire generation of riders. Number 6. Yamaha RD400. The Yamaha RD400, often called the White Death or the Giant Killer, is a two-stroke firecracker that still puts modern 400cc and 500cc bikes to absolute shame. Weighing next to nothing and packing a punchy, wheelie-prone parallel twin, the RD400 was the bike that taught a generation of riders how to truly handle a motorcycle. In the resale market, these are skyrocketing because there is simply no modern equivalent to that on-the-pipe explosion of power. It's a surgical instrument in the corners, letting you dive deeper and turn harder than any modern rider on a heavy restricted beginner bike would ever dare. The RD400 didn't care about your ego, it only cared about the next apex. It was a visceral, smoky, and loud reminder that displacement isn't everything. But as fast as the RD was, it still couldn't match the exotic, Desmo-driven precision of the most beautiful bike of the decade. Number 5. Ducati 750 SS. The Ducati 750 SS is essentially a road-legal race bike, born directly from Paul Smart's legendary victory at Imola. This was the bike that put Ducati on the map, featuring the first production desmodromic valve system and a chassis that handled like it was on rails. In my years as a dealer, the 750 SS is the holy grail for many collectors, not just for its looks, but for the way it carves through a corner. Modern bikes are often overbraked and overpowered, but the 750 SS is perfectly balanced, allowing you to carry corner speeds that would leave a modern 600cc rider sweating. The sound of that L-twin through Conti pipes is a religious experience that modern Euro 5 regulations have effectively banned from existence. It is a masterpiece of Italian passion and engineering. Yet for all its beauty, it couldn't claim the title of the fastest production bike in the world. That title belonged to a brutal, three-cylinder monster from Italy. Number 4. La Vertigota. The La Vertigota was the world's first production superbike to officially clock 140 miles per hour, and it did so with a level of mechanical violence that is completely foreign to modern riders. This 1000cc triple featured high-compression pistons and racing cams that made it a beast to start, and even harder to hold on to. I've sold a few of these over the years, and I always warn the buyers, the Jota does not have ride modes, you are the ride mode. It is a heavy physical machine that requires muscle to turn, but once it's on the pipe, it moves with a thunderous roar that can be felt in your chest. It's a bike that makes you earn your speed, and that's exactly why it destroys modern sterile superbikes in the engagement department. It was the king of the road in 1976, but even its brute force was overshadowed by the bike that truly defined the superbike era for the masses. Number 3. Honda CB750. The Honda CB750 didn't just compete with the world, it changed it forever. When it debuted in 1969 and dominated the early 70s, it brought 4 cylinders, a disc brake, and an electric starter to a market that was used to leaky, unreliable twins. From a reliability standpoint, the CB750 is still a miracle. I've seen examples with 100,000 miles that still run as smoothly as the day they left the showroom. While modern bikes are plagued by sensor failures and electrical gremlins, the CB750 is a mechanical fortress. It's the bike that proved you could have world-class performance without the headache of constant repairs. It's comfortable, it's fast enough to keep up with modern traffic, and it has an elegant simplicity that modern designers have lost. It was the perfect motorcycle, but for some people, perfect was too boring. They wanted something that was genuinely dangerous, and Kawasaki was more than happy to oblige. Number 2. Kawasaki H2 Mach 4. The Kawasaki H2 Mach 4, famously known as the Widowmaker, was a 750cc 3-cylinder 2-stroke that was designed with one goal in mind, to be the fastest accelerating machine on the planet. It was a bike that could do a standing quarter mile in 12 seconds flat at a time when most cars couldn't even reach 60 mph in that time. As a dealer, I've seen the fear in people's eyes when they talk about the H2. It had a frame that flexed like a wet noodle and brakes that were merely suggestions. But that's exactly why it destroys modern bikes. It's a raw, unadulterated shot of adrenaline that modern safety standards would never allow to be built. The way the power hits at 5,000 RPM is like being kicked in the back by a mule. It was a terrifying, smoky, and glorious experiment in speed. However, even the Widowmaker eventually had to bow down to the true king of the 70s. Number 1. Kawasaki Z1 900. The Kawasaki Z1 900 is the undisputed king of the 1970s, a bike so powerful and so well engineered that it effectively ended the reign of the British motorcycle industry. When it arrived in 1972, its 903cc DOHC engine produced a staggering 82 horsepower, making it the most powerful Japanese 4-cylinder bike ever seen. In my 15 years of buying and selling, the Z1 is the gold standard. It's the bike that everyone wants because it still feels big and fast, even by 2026 standards. It has a presence and a cool factor that modern bikes try to replicate with retro styling, but they can never catch the soul of the original. The Z1 wasn't just about speed, it was about dominance. It was reliable enough to cross the country and fast enough to win at Daytona. It is the ultimate expression of 70s ambition, a machine that proved Japan could build the best motorcycle in the world. It's the bike that every enthusiast needs to ride at least once before they die, because once you've felt the power of a Z1, modern bikes just feel like shadows of a greater era. The 1970s wasn't just a decade, it was a mechanical frontier where the rules were being written in real time. These 10 motorcycles are proof that the good old days weren't just a myth, they were an era of uncompromising engineering and raw, unfiltered passion. As someone who has spent 15 years watching the market, I can tell you that the demand for these bikes isn't just nostalgia, it's a hunger for a connection to the machine that modern technology has slowly stripped away. These bikes don't just sit in garages, they belong on the road, reminding us that motorcycling is supposed to be visceral, loud, and a little bit dangerous. If you've ever had the chance to twist the throttle on one of these legends, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Which one of these 70s icons would you put in your dream garage? The reliability of the CB750 or the madness of the H2? Drop a comment below and let's talk shop. If you're ready to see the modern bikes that are actually worth your money, click on this next video. Ride on and keep that legacy alive. For Rider Archive.